now the time is here. As you enter into the carnival-like atmosphere of the street, Tosin, what are you feeling?
Exuberation. There's so festivals are like her favorite thing because there's so much music and so many stories, and she just can't decide where to go first.
And is music everywhere. And with your ear for it, you're picking it from six different locations. And the only thing that keeps you from chasing after it like a squirrel looking for something shiny is the reassuring hand of Manna on your shoulder. There'll be plenty of time for that. The city is yours. But today is for formality. And she looks at you, and can you describe everybody what she sees? What does Tosin look like today?
So Tozen is a wait a minute, what size did I do? Sorry, everything signed me out and I have to sign me back in.
It's okay.
Tozen is a roughly 5'7", silver-haired, purple-eyed girl with some light freckles, and she'll be wearing this sort of unisex outfit of like this long green vest, sort of tunic style with gray beige shirt that comes up quarter way down her arms, and these long fingerless brown gloves, and is very more or less neatly put together. And she'll have this instrument strung over her back that hangs kind of diagonally across her back that looks sort of like a funky violin, but a little larger.
And I apologize, but I'm gonna have to walk the dog very quickly because I am the only one here, and he's not gonna stop until I do. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna take a quick break because otherwise, we're gonna hear that for the next 20 minutes.
Suddenly, Tosin hears the sound of a pack of wolves approaching. Roll initiative.
And she turns around to make friends.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fix the audio. Oh.
Sasha Pan, the evil Greg 2, not the evil Greg 1.
I guess Evil Greg 1 was taken.
Or was he usurped?
Or is this just the second iteration of him?
There was a battle between the two great Evil Gregs.
Bigger, badder, brain smoother.
I love the fact that on my screen, it's like bouncing in and out his screen.
Yeah. It's the residual evil.
It's the residual evil.
Okay. I apologize. And the best part is it was raining, so he got out of the porch, took one look, and turned around back in and did nothing, but that's okay. Tosin, the old wizardess hands you a set of blue robes, finely made, tailored to fit you perfectly. You will need these for today's festivities. Made sure that they cut loose so they wouldn't constrict you.
Oh, thank you very much. They're so blue.
They get used to it. She kind of smirks and doesn't say anymore as she begins leading you down the street into the festivities. And we're going to cut over to a very large turtle waddling down the streets. People scrambling to get out of his way as the slow, misshapen creature trundles along. Most people stopping to stare back even as they jump out of the way so they can get a sight of the two strange creatures that are traveling with it. Can we please have descriptions of Art and Smoke? Let's start with Art.
Okay. So Art is a frog. Looks similar to a tree frog. He's about 2'6", so quite small. But he is brightly colored in hues of red and purple and blue, just all over him. He has a couple of little pouches and bags strapped to him with like bottles, a little satchel at his side, and all of them are painted with the most garish colors you could ever think of, and lots of like designs, some with images of plants and animals, some with just random scrawls on them.
And Smoke?
All right, yeah, Smoke. Similar physique, small frog-like creature, a grung. But he's a bright red, very noticeable red, and his attire is mostly these kind of like long, kind of like a cloak of like fur cloaks. Very much kind of homemade.
And are they smoking?
Yes.
Okay. So this little rainbow toad and this small fuming ember of toad are trundling around with this big turtle. How are you guys doing today? You're finally in the city. You've been staying outside of the city on the side of the mountain at a friend of this mage and Magus Tibbs. And finally, you get to enter the city, and it's crazy. There's music and food and laughing and dancing, and you walk by one storefront, and there's a puppet show of mages going to war, and the effects you can tell are obviously magical. And you're plodding along with this slow turtle. How you guys doing?
Art is he's upon coming across like the different sights and the sounds, and especially that puppet show, instantly just reached into his pocket for like a blank scroll, and he's just like finger painting an impression of like the wizard duel in the puppet show, and like trying to get the colors as accurate as he can, focusing more on those than the actual wizards themselves, of course. But he's just
Excellent.
taking on all these new sights and sounds.
And Smoke? How is Smoke doing?
Smoke's just kind of looking at everyone around him. He goes up to her and goes, "Hey, why is everyone here so big?"
I don't know. They must eat more, I guess.
I eat too much, I think.
You'll have plenty to eat soon enough. Come along. And as he says that, he shuffles a few more paces, and you guys are already 3 or 4 ahead of them. But Magus Tibbs has been good to you and has taken care of you. And to be honest, you owe him your life because he saved you from what would amount to directed genocide. So you're patient with him as he leads you through. And as the things start to thin out a little bit, and he stops you at the corner.
Magic ice cream appears.
Okay, put the magic ice cream in the refrigerator for me, please.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And he reaches down and dangles 2 small blue robes. Put them on.
Art just looks at it and just like, you got anything flashier?
Not for first years. Put them on.
I'm just like, don't worry, I'll handle it.
Thank God, some of them that stink.
And he looks at it, and he looks, and he swaps them around, and he hands one to you purposefully. This one's fireproof. Excellent. And you put on your robes, and you find yourself walking down a street that's mostly empty. A few other groups of you, 2 to 3 people, little gaggles, start filling in the streets around you as you walk. And this is where we will come to Squall. Squall, you have been staying in the military barracks of the city guard, along with your teacher, Swordmaster Finian. And you are woke early in the morning, earlier than you have to, with Finian. All right, get up. They're going to be sticking your head full of spells and magic. We're going to spend a couple hours with steel and sweat first. And he runs you through your paces, but surprisingly enough, afterwards you feel really good. And you are presented with a set of armor and a weapon that all initiates of the Eldritch Knights would get to bring with you on your journey today. And he leads you out. All right, you got any questions for me? Because once this starts going, it's going to get crazy fast, and they're going to be sending you in all kinds of different directions. So what do you got for me? You good?
I've been waiting for this opportunity since as far as I can remember.
Good.
I'm ready for it.
That's why you're here. Because out of everybody, like, your heart's in it.
Well, I will do my best.
When they're kicking your ass and you're up till 3 a.m. trying to learn spells and you're ready to like bang your head against the wall, remember, you've been wanting this your entire life. You're going to be fine.
I'll remember, the harder it is, the more I want it. This is what I wanted.
You're going to be fine. All right, so this is not my idea. I think the armor's awesome, and it's a shame to cover it up. He pulls a parcel out and he hands it to you. I'm told that you got to wear these.
I can wear the armor underneath though?
You can wear the armor underneath it. It's a set of blue robes. Surprise, surprise.
Okay. Well, I've always been partially blue.
Well, get used to it. You're going to be wearing a lot, at least for a year. They'll explain all that. All right, let's go. And he leads you out into the city, and it's crazy. There are acrobats and jugglers, and there are people who are like yelling your name, even though they don't know your name. They're just like, elf, elf. Little kids are throwing flowers at you, and you're a celebrity for some reason. You have no idea why. There are street vendors who are coming up and like offering you food. And Finian is just like, nah, probably don't. You can eat later. Come on. And you are led through the city. And the city is amazing. You have grown up in the elvish cities. So you are not a stranger to grandeur. You have seen some of the most amazing works of natural architecture that exist in the world. And this place still blows you away. The fact that you're in a city that's floating in the air over a mountain, the fact that this is a city that was built thousands of years before it was discovered, and nobody has any idea who created it. Like, just the wonder and the mystique about it is really cool. And how do you feel? You ready?
I am. I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm nervous though. I'm a little overwhelmed just because the vast majority of my life has either been dedicated to silent, meticulous practice in the library, we were preparing or taking care of books,
Yeah.
moving up to, battle training and things like that, where there's no time or opportunity for frivolity or fun or anything. It was just, you're going to do this task. It's going to be difficult. You're not going to enjoy it. You just have to do well. Or you will be silent and you will do this task and you will do it well. That's all I've known to be. So to be bombarded by not just the overwhelming, I guess, the opportunity of, I'm taking my first steps towards this dream that I was having, my entire life. I've read about, all these things, but to be, I'm audibly and visually bombarded by colors, life, everything else. I'm so overwhelmed that, I think I wouldn't like recess into a shell or anything, but just, very diligent, diligent, seeing what's around me, stuff like that. Just without, I don't know how to figure it out.
You are on the adventure now. All the years of preparing, and you're here, and you're walked deep into the city of Finian, and you realize after a little bit that most of the people that were around you, they're not gone, but they're hanging from balconies or they're in on the street corners, but the streets themselves are empty, except for you and Finian. And then the other groups start coming out. You see a small gnomish woman walking with a centaur who is also wearing blue robes.
Mm-hmm.
You see a large turtle with two strange little frog creatures, the likes of which you have never even imagined. You don't know what the hell they are. You start to see what you realize are the other students that must be coming to this school today. Tosin, you come in with Nanya, and you see these strange little frog creatures, and you see a pair of elves who clearly look like they're warriors. Squall, can you tell everybody what they see as you walk onto the block in the street with them?
In terms of what?
What do you look like? What do they see when they see you?
I'm a little less than 6 feet tall. What am I, maybe 40 years old in Elfie? So like a teenager, pretty much. I've got blonde hair that's been kind of buzz cut for the training purposes that I went through. And, not too bulky, just kind of a lean, in-shape, tall, similar elf that seems to be a little overwhelmed.
All of you are moving forward, and more groups are coming in, and there are all sorts. You see all sorts of people in the blue robes. You see humans and elves. You see one girl who looks like she's completely made of glass, and you see creatures that seem strange to you, like elephant creatures and 3 different kinds of cat creatures. One of which is not wearing a blue robe, but is a large black cat with a witch's hat canted sideways on its head, and some charms and talismans braided around its neck. And it is prancing sort of in the center of where everybody is moving now. And as it is prancing and moving, the air around where it's dancing begins to smoke. And a green, brownish smoke that smells of old leaves and cinnamon begins to permeate the air. And as the cat dances, a large jack-o'-lantern appears in the center of the street. And this jack-o'-lantern begins to pulsate as the cat dances rhythmically around it, giving screeches and meows that should be discordant, but oddly enough have a strange, compelling melody to it. And as the cat screeches and as the pumpkin begins to pulsate, does anybody want to do anything? You're all walking up on this. The centaur has stopped. The gnome puts her hands out and pulls a wand out.
Art is drawing this as fast as he can. He's desperately trying to mix paints, and he realizes he doesn't have a good brown one, so he finds like some mud on the ground and just starts using that.
Okay. Anybody else? Everybody just stopping in wonder?
Tozen is tapping her hand along in rhythm, or probably trying to wander towards him and being pulled back by Nanya.
Yeah, and he's like, but the cat's kind of interesting. Like it's a song. It's a different song. It's a primal song. It's not the song that you're looking for, but it reminds you about it in the wild way that it's being sung. As you all watch, and the cat is dancing and the jack-o'-lantern is pulsating, a crow, a green crow, comes swooping down over the jack-o'-lantern, just kind of dive bombing the crowd, and you swear you hear it laughing as it does so. And everybody is distracted by the crow, only to look back as the jack-o'-lantern explodes. There are no pieces, there are no parts. The explosion appears to be an illusion, quite possibly. You're not entirely sure, but standing in the smoke and this scatter of dry leaves that comes out is a girl. Lucia, can you describe to them what they see?
Well, first off, Lucia has big, wide eyes because while she's been in plenty of cities, or what she thought of as cities, this is quite possibly the strangest place she's ever been in. So she is humanoid. So she has golden, honey-colored skin. She's wearing a deep forest green cloak with the hood pulled up. Can't really see much under it, but if you're looking pretty close, you might catch a couple of glimpses of different leaves and autumn flowers, nuts and spices, all in like the shades of autumn. You might also, if you're paying really close attention, catch two baby buds of horns. All in the colors of autumn, but all hidden away, and she keeps pulling at the hood, trying to hide underneath it, but she still wants to see what's going on.
The green crow comes and lands on the girl's shoulder, and it begins to peck at your hood, trying to pull it away from your face. Kid, what's the point of the big entrance if you're going to hide? Come on, what are you doing?
Sam, go away.
Hey. All right, I'm going away. Look, congratulations.
No, don't go.
Well, look, I gotta do your thing. You gotta do your thing. The cat has got the robe. You gotta put the robe on.
The robe.
Yeah.
Wait. So she looks at the cat and she's like, "Do you have the robe?"
Jellicoe turns and says, on my back, and bends over, and there's sure enough a parcel on the cat's back.
She grabs the robe and she puts it on over her green robe.
You put and you were wearing the same blue robe that everybody else is wearing as well. And Jellicoe, the black cat with the witch's hat, nudges your leg and says, "Come on. Quit letting that fool distract you."
Lucia is she's like grabbing onto his pack and is like, okay, where are we going? Just take me where we're going.
Just follow the crowd.
Okay. You're coming with, right?
For a little while.
Lucia's eyes goes even wider.
And all of you walk through the city. And pretty soon there is a progression. There is a progression of other students, other blue robes. And pretty soon you find Swordsmaster Finian shakes your hand. You got it from here, kid. Nanya looks at you, takes both of your hands, leans in conspiratorially. It's just a rumor. There is no proof. But the oldest tales tell that the founder of the school, Ratinda Rakashaka, used at least one of the songs of power to create the school.
No way.
Something like that is sure to leave echoes. And she takes your hand and she gives a little bow and she walks off.
I immediately start listening for echoes.
You don't hear anything now, but you realize that the other students are slowly getting pulled away from their mentors. And the turtle is already about 6 faces behind you guys. All right, guys, you'll be safe now. Keep in touch.
Tartlet waves back to him. And then gets back to drawing.
And Magus Tibbs turns around slowly and walks away, totally ignorant of the fact that part of his cloak is smoking and slightly on fire. And on the backside of his shell is a little rainbow handprint. And he walks into the city. And a green crow spirals up and disappears into the clouds. And with one last bump against your shin, the cat looks up at Lucia and says, "You're going to do fine. Remember, I think that the crow is an addle-headed idiot, but he's right. First impressions are everything, and you, whether you want to believe it or not, are the queen of the witches. Don't let them treat you like anything less."
And Lucia looks back and now her eyes are even wider. And now she's like, crap, now I need to make a good impression. So in her breath, she's saying impressions matter, impressions matter, impressions matter, while like tripping over the blue and the green robe.
The cat shakes its head. "Oh, it's going to be a long 5 years." And walks off looking for a bit of cream and salmon. And you now find yourself walking down the streets. And as you walk, the crowd changes. Standing on each side of the road, as you begin to approach this giant complex of the most amazing buildings that you have ever seen. In the distance, there is a dome that looks like it is the crest of its own world, with colors and patterns moving all around it. And you know that this must be the fabled Pagasa, the religious heart of the world. And the buildings around it are equally as impressive. And the street that leads up to it now is lined with people. People in purple robes. People in their late teens, early adulthood. And they stand and they watch you. And as you pass, they begin to clap. And as you pass them, there's another group, slightly larger and slightly younger, of people in green robes. And the progression is to orange, younger, even still. And then the red robes who don't look much older than you. And as you walk past them, all of the returning students of the Manna Gambu join the parade behind you. And you march through these marbled streets, through a wondrously lush park, until you come to a large, grand platform, a marble dais in the middle of this wonder. Marble steps and stairs and ramps leading up to it. And as you're brought to it, you stop unsure what to do. But a small wizened man in a black robe, unobtrusively standing at the side. Come, students, on and up, on and up. You'll know what to do when you get there. Go, go. And as you make your way up tentatively, nervously, to the top of this marble platform, you see in the middle a large doorway. The door of every color is open. Now, those who are coming from the other side, you all see the same exact thing. Even though you should be looking through to see each other, you're all looking into what looks like a portal to a wonderfully green field. You are at the top. You are at the entrance to the Manna Gambu. Does anybody have any reluctance? Anything that they want to do before they pass through? How is everybody feeling?
So excited, still listening for echoes.
Art is nervous at this point. He's just gonna stick close to Smoke.
Okay.
Let's flammable.
All the robes. Lucia's excited, but still pulling her hood up around her and nervously looking around. She's tripped on the steps up already once, but somebody helped her up.
A large hand catches your shoulder as you're going to fall, and it helps steady you. And you look behind you, and you see a minotaur.
Thank you.
A large minotaur. She looks down at you and kind of shakes her head as if it's her pleasure. It offers her hand for you to go first.
Lucia's looking around and goes.
You walk up and you all begin to pass through the portal. And as you pass through the portal, you pop out into a gazebo in the middle of a large section, a large circular field. And as you pop out, there are teachers here, all wearing black robes. And they are all, come this way, don't block up the gazebo, out into the fields. Come along. Everybody out. And soon 30-something blue-robed students are meandering aimlessly around the gazebo, not quite sure what to do. And as you do, the other students begin to filter in all of the different colored robes, the reds and the oranges, the greens, followed by the purples, who are kind of guiding and directing the whole parade. The purples, who you assume are probably the incoming seniors. And as all of the older students come in, whereas the blues, you guys are all kind of clumped in a group, not knowing what the hell to do or what's going on. They all seem to be breaking away. Small groups of them staying together, but not all of them. And you see that they start standing in different sections around the around this circular park. And as you look around, you see over their heads, you see there's an illusion that if you focus on, you can faintly see it. And each of the group has one that's different. You see one that is under a large tower, one that has a sun, one that has a weird little demonic creature. And under these, all, the different groups of mixed groups of all the years begin together. None of you are quite sure what is happening. And a blustery figure, a short dwarven man who is very much like a dwarf, but is mixed with the elemental blood of the Genasi. And this particular dwarven has a bald painted head, yet an impressive beard of purple, pink, and blue fire. Welcome to the Manna Gambu! I can see you are confused. If I can direct your eyes to the back of your hands, please. If you look at the back of your hand, you will see a symbol. If you do not see a symbol, then you should look at your other hand. Well, go ahead. What are you waiting for? And people around you start looking at their hands.
Yeah, look at our hand.
As each of you look at your hand, you see indeed there is a symbol. And on the back of each of your hands, you see a tower. And sure enough, one of the groups on the far side that's gathering is under this illusionary image of a tower. Well, that's your group. Go join them. You'll be seeing me soon enough, all of yous. Move along, move along.
Art is just gonna cautiously just look at the back of Smoke's hand to make sure it's the same symbol.
You look and your heart beats a little faster as the smudge of soot on his hand makes it look like it's something different, but as it blows and melts away, you see, just like you, it's the tower.
Of course, we're in the same place, you idiot.
You're stuck with me a little longer.
I'll be right back.
Damn.
And okay, so everybody seems to be making their way now that this this teacher told you what to look for. Are you all going to make the way towards the symbol?
Hands up, like tower.
You make your way and you see everybody breaking off, and the new students breaking up into groups of 5 or 6. It's hard to tell, and the 5 of you clearly become aware of each other now as you find yourselves moving towards the grouping under the tower.
Lucia takes a look around and pulls everything closer. And under her breath, she's saying, like, first impressions, first impressions, first impressions. And she goes up and she sees the 2 frog people who look really strange to her. And she's like, hi, in a really loud voice. That's it.
Are you cold?
A little cold. And Lucia looks around and everyone else is like fanning themselves. So like she's like, it's definitely cold.
When you cross through the portal, it's just striking you now that you went from what's a relatively temperate city for being located near a jungle to really a hot, arid climate. It seems to be very, very warm here now that he mentions it.
Oh yeah, Lucia's cold. Yep, Lucia's cold.
And as the five of you are walking forward, you notice that there are a bunch of students that are under the tower. You see as you're approaching a dragonborn, a silver dragonborn, with a very impressive double-bladed scimitar that you are sure is Enchanted Squall, walks up to you and says, "Hey, don't be shy, guys. Come on, over here, over here. This is the right place. I'm Montego. I'm one of the seniors. If you need anything, you can look for me. You can look." He points to another purple robed woman, and this woman looks like she's an elf, except her skin is blue, and she seems to have scales and maybe gills on her neck, and her hair is green and falls, almost looking like seaweed. And she is talking to somebody in a red robe, but she looks up and waves. "That's Coral. She will definitely help you. I can help you." He looks over quickly at what looks like a mechanical man. It looks like a creature of artifice, but it is very smartly wearing perfectly pressed purple robes and is kind of like staring off away from the group just at a wall. And you can tell this dragonborn thinks of saying something, but shakes its head. "Anyway, me and Coral would be happy to help you. Any of the students above you. But right now, you guys better get your asses over there because you do not want to keep your advisor waiting."
Big man for big man. Let's go.
So he points you across the way to a woman, and I am going to let's see here. I'm going to add her picture into the tavern talk so everybody can see. And Montego says, "All right, hurry up. She's fair, but she does not like to be kept waiting." And he turns around and starts yelling at one of the red robe students who are throwing apples at each other. "What would you like to do?"
Head over to Miss Don't Be Late.
Yeah. Double check that still got the tower symbol on my hand to make sure that I am going in the right place.
You're walking right under it, but you're looking down, you're looking up, you're looking to, all right, this looks right.
Yeah, I'm okay. This is doing this. Let's go.
The woman looks down at you. "Missing one. All right. Not your fault. Not your fault. All right. Welcome to Manna Gambu. I am Magus Bio Shanti. You can call me Magus. You can call me Magus Shanti. When you graduate from the purple robes, we will get a drink together, and you may call me Bayo. Do it before then, and I will have you scrubbing blackboards with your tongue like you will not believe. I have simple rules. Respect me, I'll respect you. I'm going to be your advisor for your entire time here. So anything that I can do to help you, we're going to get to know each other. I'm going to help you along the way. If you're having trouble acclimating, if you're having trouble with all of this being so new, of course you can come to me. But I want you to look around. Look around. Check each other out. These are your people. We got one more coming. there are going to be 6 of you. You are now officially the Blue Spire group. Blue corresponds to the year you are in the school. Blue is freshman. Blue is first year. Spire has to do with the dorm that you're in. There are 6 dorms, and there are a group of up to 6 from each grade 1 through 4 in those dorms. You get to the 5th year, you get your own mansion, but don't get crazy because we're not even close to that yet. So you can always tell somebody what group they're in by the symbol on their hand and the color of the robe they're wearing. You guys are Blue Spire. Learn it, love it. It's yours for at least a year. And then if you make it, you'll be Red Spire. And she looks over at the group in the red robes that have like stopped throwing apples at each other, but now are like shooting magic missiles at each other for like behind their backs. She's like, and by the looks of them, it's not a really high bar. I have a feeling you're all going to be fine. Morons. Anyway, so here's the deal. She points out, and you look around and you realize all the groups are kind of congregating and having this same conversation. And while this has been happening, a magnificent picnic feast has popped up almost out of nowhere in the field. It's like, look, get to know each other, introduce yourselves, make peace with each other. I'm going to go find out where our number 6 is. And after you guys have had a chance to talk and chat and get something in your bellies, I'll take you over to the dorms. Any questions before I go? You're good?
Art's just gonna be like, yeah, the whole tower design, is that gonna change at all? Cause it, kind of a bit minimalistic, not really my style.
All right, shut up.
Like what? She asked if we had questions.
Your art.
He does a little curt bow. Art's the name and art's the game.
Yeah. You could do whatever you want to the outside of the tower. It's not going to stick. It's magic. It's minimalistic for a purpose. However, when you get to your bedroom, you can come and thank me. I had to make some changes that I thought you might appreciate.
Art's face this is like a lights up.
This is going to be your home for the next 5 years. We want you guys to be as happy as possible. Hopefully the living accommodations will help you be a little more comfortable. But look, again, get to know each other. You're going to be much more important to each other than I'm going to be to you. Well, probably not, but doesn't matter. I'll be back. And she turns around, her black robe is flying behind her. And you're left standing there, looking at each other.
Lucia was muttering under her breath pretty much the entire time. First impression. And so she's like,
Do we hear that?
Yeah, of course you do. You're making noise behind it. I was under her breath. Okay.
I mean, yeah, but you could hear it. She would be mortified to know if you heard, though. So she turns around, pastes a fake smile on her face, and says, "Okay, it looks like it's time for food."
Look at the feast table. Look back at her. Concurred.
I'll wait for people to start going to the food table and then follow suit.
Are we gonna play that game where like everyone wants to go get food, but they're gonna wait till another person goes first?
Yes.
So we're all just gonna be standing there.
You make your way to the feast tables, and I mean they're everywhere. There are anything that you can think of. There are meats and cheeses and fruits and salads and sandwiches, and there's a big platter of muffins.
Muffins.
Do I take the psychic damage now or later?
I'm like, we don't like muffins.
They're just muffins, guys.
I'm gonna fight you, Greg.
Couldn't wait one session. Right out the gates.
So now you're standing there and you're eating and you're kind of looking at each other. I'm not going to save you from this, as you are all standing there awkwardly with these strangers that you've told are going to be your best friends for the next 5 years.
I shove a muffin in my
I
mouth.
was gonna start conversation here. Oh,
I look over at Art because he's got so much color. I don't think I've ever seen something like that. So now it's quieter and we're just kind of mulling around. I feel more confident. So I go over to him. I've never seen the species or anything like that. So I kind of bend down and hi, I'm Swall. I've never seen someone dressed like you before. Is that normal from where you're from?
Art quickly reaches into his bag and gets out like a thick leather glove and puts it on and then holds out his hand to shake. He's like, I'm Art. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've never seen anyone quite as, he just like looks up, tall as you either.
I grab his hand and I look at his glove and go, "Oh, is that normal too for you guys?"
He's like,
I don't have
only
any,
for outsiders.
it's like,
They'll
shut up,
poison
Smoke.
you.
you know what?
Your skin's toxic to non-grung.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh,
They'll
okay.
have extremely intense hallucinations. I've been told they're fun for some.
Someone once told me they saw God.
Oh, well, I guess I'm glad you protected me, but also curious and
He then fell into a lake and drowned, and then I think he really saw God.
well, thanks for keeping me here instead of on my adventure to explore God's God's visions. Well,
Lucia's interested now that they've started talking, and she's staring at Smoke now. It was Art. She's staring at Art now, and she's like, "Are you poisonous all over?"
He's like, yeah, mostly.
You're not poisonous. You know, that's a debatable term.
and is Art a normal name? I see your friend. I think I overheard his name was Smoke. So do you get named in your culture for something that you love to do?
Well, it depends. It depends on what your purpose is, or it could be something given to you, but I chose the name Art.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay. Huh.
And he
Yeah.
just like observe, and he just whips out like his sketchbook and starts showing you like paintings he's done. One of them is like the wizard puppet show. Another one is the pumpkin mid explosion.
Oh, I said, well, man, if it was up to me, I'd call you Master Art.
Well, let me roll performance to see if they're any good. Okay, 22.
Yeah. I look very impressed.
As you're looking at these
Oh,
wonderful sketches, you also notice, Lucia and Swell, as you're focusing on Art, at first you just thought that these were just patterns on it, or maybe it was natural, maybe there were tattoos, maybe it was magic. But as you're watching him, you see the colors on his skin, the rainbow smears and flashes that are just all mismatched all around him. You notice that they're slowly and subtly changing as you look at them.
Is it me? Or is the skin color changing? Is that normal? I've never known of a frog.
we're very abnormal grungs.
Like, yeah, that's one of the things they call it.
It's why we had to come here. Example, yeah, if you shook my hand right now and I guess I would have a fireproof glove. I take it off. That's me right now. You get not so much the fun of trip, My skin burns everything to the touch.
You pick up a pear and it melts in your hand.
So I guess the rule of thumb is anytime I see not just you two, but anyone of your kind, to make sure I shake their hand with a glove. Don't go for a unannounced back pat.
No, it's just like, yeah, Be careful about those ones.
Lucia looks at Smoke now and is like, how is your robe not burning? And she takes a step away.
Fireproof. At least what the old turtle told me. I assume, since it's not a blazing inferno right now, I assume he's right.
He takes another step away.
I would like Lucia and Squall and Tozen to make insight checks for me, please.
Fat numbers.
Nice.
15.
8.
Not so fast.
How did Squall do?
18.
18. While everybody is talking, Tozen, you know the group is talking and amongst themselves, and you're interested, but as you look over the shoulder, you see this most fascinating juggler. This woman with orange skin and 4 arms, and she has so many balls in the air. It's amazing. So you're not quite paying enough attention to catch what Squall and Lucia catch. But the two of you, Squall, when you mention other, you notice that both of you notice that Smoke and Art become a little guarded, a little defensive. The thought of other grung makes them both slightly uncomfortable.
So I noticed that. And did I approach you and talking about other of your kind?
No, but other drunk didn't really like us.
Really?
We didn't really like them either.
You seem perfectly pleasant. What was the reason?
Rigid caste society.
Probably the first time I've been called pleasant before.
Well,
And I raised my hand. You see this mark? This is the second one we got in our lives. The first one was we were marked for death.
Oh, so you were marked for death twice.
They probably tried more than twice.
Oh, wow.
We tried it a few times, but they got close once.
Wow. Well, I could see how that would harbor some ill feelings towards others.
Lucia is looking at them and she's like, so your people don't like you too?
Nope.
No.
Lucia's like, my people don't like me either.
Mm.
I see that she's got 2 robes on, so I make sure that, double check everyone else to make sure that I wasn't supposed to have 2 robes as well.
And I noticed he's doing that and go, hey, it's okay. And I like really look around. I kind of look at the my attention goes to like the burning sun, and I go, cold.
I check this down too and go, I see. So I kind of go over to her and say, so you say your people don't like you either?
Lucia just shakes her head and she's like, yeah, I'm not really talking with my family right now.
Well,
Art's just like, it'll probably be a long time before we talk to ours as well.
Well, I can understand they've tried to kill you a couple times. I would be a little bit perturbed with it myself.
Art just like puts his glove back on and just tries to give Lucia's, I assume, knee just a reassuring pat.
Well, I can't understand why someone would be so mean to someone who creates so much art like that.
What's your story, Squall? You got a good family?
I do, but I haven't seen them in a long time. You speak of kind of a caste society, so my environment was very arranged like that as well, where I happened to be on the very bottom. And over the years, I was able to work my way up. but I've been given this opportunity to be here. I don't really know what to expect, but it's definitely out of my realm of what's seen in my future capabilities. So I never expected to see something like this in my life. And, I'm definitely interested in it. I feel like I'm already becoming pretty educated just with the amount of people I've met and the new things that I've already experienced. So you don't feel that way, Lucia? You feel is this an escape for you, or a retreat?
Lucia kind of pulls her robes closer to her, and she says, "It's the only place I really have to go."
Really? Well, hopefully one day you'll trust me enough to elaborate.
She looks at Tozen. Is that how it's Tozen?
Tozen.
And she says, "What's your name? Why are you here?"
She sort of swivels back from watching the juggler and stuffing muffins in her mouth. My name is Tozen. And I came here sort of on a fluke. I was on this wanderlust that my family does when we turn a certain age. And I met this princess of the Fey realm and sang a song, and poof, I was here.
Lucia's actually really excited because while she doesn't sing or dance well, she also doesn't sing or dance like poorly either. Just it was one of the things that she was taught to do growing up. And so she's like, "What kind of songs do you sing?"
Oh my gosh, I sing just any of the songs that I come across. My family we travel everywhere. We never stay in one place. And so we just pick up all of the songs and the stories and the dances everywhere we go.
Is your instrument off your back in your hands yet?
It's still slung on my back.
Okay.
Lucia awkwardly takes another bite of an olive or something on her plate.
I look at Tozen's instrument, and I don't think I've ever seen it read. I've read quite a few books. I've never seen an instrument like that. What is that?
Oh, she stuffs the last few crumbs of muffins in her mouth and like dusts off her robe and sort of slings it around so that it hooks behind her back and comes across her like a violin sort of would. And she says, "This is Theori. This is Astiel. She is a Theori violin." And I pull out the bow from its little compartment and I start playing. You can see that it's like a mostly wooden instrument, but it's got these veins of metal running through it along with the strings that you would see on a normal violin. And she starts playing on the metal veins, this sort of like a jig, but it sounds much deeper than it ought to, like it's coming from a cello.
Oh, wow.
Make a performance check for us, please.
Dang it.
You can do it.
Leave.
16.
Nice.
16 is excellent. You're all immediately caught up with a level of skill that your new group mate is exhibiting. This isn't just some hack with an instrument. She knows her way around it. And even as you're caught up with it, you notice that other people are paying attention as well.
Lucia is dancing around and she's like doing some of the steps of like, you know, her town dances and stuff. And just, she's actually starting to feel good.
Cousin's picking up on that and sort of dancing with her and learning the steps while she plays. And she starts adding in some of the string sounds. And so then as the pitch starts going up more like a violin and she's switching between like violin and cello sounds.
I'm like surprised at not just the sound, but how willing everybody is to just start vibing. I haven't been around that, so I feel a little like, little like self-aware all of a sudden, and just kind of back away from the dance sesh, so I don't feel like the people are going to expect me to join.
You're the military school kid who finds himself at the drum circle.
Yeah. I don't know how to participate, so I'll just try and not participate.
Art will art's just like that. That's beautiful. I've never heard a song like that before. Most of all we get is a bunch of croaking hymns.
Oh, I learned this song at the last halfling village I visited.
You just never went to the music store.
As you guys are chatting, you see that Magus Shanty is walking across the field towards you now.
And I quickly bring my song to a close and put my instrument away.
A little round of applause.
Yeah.
He walks up and she claps too.
I noticed when she starts clapping, kind of stand at partial attention.
That was really nice.
And I sort of give a little bow.
I see why you're here. Music, it's not how I express it, but for some, it can be magic too. All right, you guys had enough to eat? Are you guys okay? There'll be some in the dorm later. But come with me. I want to get you guys set in. I want to get you guys comfortable, and then there'll be a little time to explore. But you're going to be meeting with your first professors first thing in the morning. So let's jump right in. So why don't you come with me, and I will take you to the Spire dorm. And as you leave the center, you notice that other groups are starting to break off as well. Other groups of blue robe students with their mentors, but also groups of other robe colored students are kind of, now that they've got food and we're chit chatting and catching up over the summer, now going off in small groups, maybe to their dorms, maybe just to reconnect. And as you're traveling and as you leave this large large field, you notice that you seem to be in, it's strange coming from Quandary, that's such a weird, magnificent city, being so different than anything anybody has ever seen before, literally constructed with alien architecture. Coming to the Gambu is humbling, but also peaceful, because you find yourself what looks like a well-built, well-funded jungle village. That most of the buildings are made out of wood. There is thatching and wood shingles for the roofs, but most of the buildings are not exceptionally tall. It's humble. It doesn't look like a majestic place of magic. Until you notice that the flowers are turning to look at you as you walk, and the air smells of things that are wonderful and magnificent and barely identifiable. Until you notice that in the distance, is that a Pegasus? little thing, but just the general construction and demeanor of it is very simple. And Magus Shanti leads you to one of the taller buildings that you've seen. This is a 3-level tower. And on the tower, it's circular, but in different quadrants of the tower, you notice that there are 4 doors evenly spaced around it. There is a blue door, a red door, an orange door, and a green door. All right, this is home, folks. She points at your robes and at the blue door. Blue.
Oh, blue door.
Blue door.
Blue door.
Blue door is for you. Blue door is for first years. Recently vacated by. She points at the red door. As you graduate, you'll move your way all around the circle until you finish fifth year in the mansion.
Lucia is just like looking around, like wide-eyed at everything. Her cloak is slipping, but it has not slipped. She pulls it back.
Chosen is similarly impressed, having lived most of her life in big tents.
Yes. One of the windows, a face on the second floor, a face peeks out. And it's a young man, a good-looking young man with blue skin and a shock of white hair. The blue robes that he is wearing are exceptionally fancy and accentuated with embroidery of lightning bolts and little storm clouds. And he kind of looks out nervously and waves quickly and then ducks back in. And you hear some arguing and a human boy looks out and a gnome, and they're looking down at you. Hey, no kids, no kids. And they look like they're getting ready to like pull something up, and Magashanti looks up at them and makes eye contact with them and promises to kill them and everybody they know just with her look. And they're like, oh shit, right there. And they all disappear. Idiots. All right, don't worry about it. All right, blue door. Come on. She leads you around to the blue door and opens it up. And it opens into a little corridor that opens into a large open space. And this large open space has couches and chairs and a few one section of the wall is built out in it's kind of crafted and contoured so the stone would be comfortable to sit in, allowing for fireproof places to lounge with everyone else. And there are 2 doors and a staircase. Okay, so she goes and sits down. Before I let you guys explore and find your rooms, I'm sure you guys are going to know exactly what belongs to who. I will be here tomorrow to get you for breakfast and to take you for your first class. But any questions? I mean, I'm sure there are so many that you can't even think of which one to ask, but is there anything that you need to get off your chest or have an answer to now? I'm here for you. What do you got? Chosen, please don't have to raise your hand with I'm your advisor, not it's fine.
Do we have class schedules or a map or anything?
We will be going over all of that tomorrow.
Okay.
I will be guiding you through it, where you need to go, what your schedule is going to be. And then once I do it with you once, then yes, we'll be giving you schedules and you'll have everything you need. We are going to start tomorrow with Professor Magus Watanabe, and he is going to be starting you with the principles of magic.
I kind of step up, ma'am.
ma'am's not necessary, but yeah, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. When do we need to be ready for breakfast?
The you will rise when the sun does, but that's okay. She looks around you. You're in the Gambu now. The house will wake you.
Okay. All right, and I just kind of step back because I don't know. I'm used to having a regimented time of things towards me.
You're gonna have a little more free time, and you're gonna have to deal with that. But there's gonna be regiments too. We're gonna have class schedules, and we're gonna have plenty of that. The house waking you up. This isn't going to mean anything to you now, but you'll thank me later. When Teague is looking for examples of how magic can make your life better in everyday ways, the house, she loves that. People notice.
No.
All right. She points over to a little collection of boxes and crates. Those are always going to be filled with basics. There's always going to be as much water as you want. There's going to be fruit. There's going to be, some things just to snack on to keep you from starving between meals. Although, if you make your way over to one of the cafeterias, one is always open. But look, if you just want to grab something, the basics are here. You don't have a full larder or full kitchen. Rank has its privileges. You don't start getting those until second and third year. But this is enough. That will keep you. Because today is the big day, you will find that all of the wonderful delicacies that were at the picnic are going to be in the boxes, but they're not going to be there when the sun rises tomorrow. So pig out. Anything else? You're good. You're good. You're good.
Starts going to one of the boxes just to look in.
You open the box and there's a full roasted pork loin on a platter with a bunch of potatoes.
Susan looks over her shoulder and yanks one of the drumsticks off.
You pull something off and these crates are full of wonderful food. Anything that you want, sandwiches and roasts and fruits and all kinds of amazing things. There are fruits you've never even seen before. There's a purple banana.
Art instantly dives for the purple banana.
It tastes like pineapple dipped in yogurt.
He's like, well, I don't know what yogurt is, and he takes a second banana. He takes the whole bunch.
It's delicious.
He rips one banana off, stuffs the entire bunch into his little satchel full of ingredients, and then just starts eating the banana, the one banana he kept.
I take a sandwich, and as I'm eating it, the bread is becoming toast.
You're making your own panini in your hands as you're eating it. All right, look, I'm going to leave you guys to figure some stuff out. She looks around the room, and as you guys look around the room, it's really obvious. I'm not even going to make you guys roll for it, but this is obviously the full size of the tower.
Wait,
we're a common room.
Yeah, this common room is the full size, and then there are 2 rooms off, and then a thing going up. But wait for it. When it hits you, it's going to be really cool. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but I will meet you guys in the morning if you have an emergency. If you need me. She points to a bell that's hanging in the corner of the common room. I will be here instantly. Emergency. If you fuck with me, it's not going to go well. Ask those morons behind the red door what happens when they get me out of bed at 4:00 in the morning because they thought it would be funny. But I can tell that you guys are different. I can tell that you guys are going to be great. This is going to be an amazing experience for all of you. We have one more coming. He apparently there was an attack on the way here. Their caravan was ambushed, and there was a little bit of trouble. But I am told that he is safe and is on the way, and should be here in the next couple of days. So don't panic about that. Your group is going to be full. And look, it's okay. I know this is overwhelming and crazy. Yeah, with the hand. Yeah. So good. I wish you
What rooms have our names on them? How do we know which one is ours?
that's part of the game. Trust me. There will be no mistaking it. Again, part of the wonder. Enjoy finding out. It was nice meeting you all. The next 5 years are going to fly by. It's good. This place is great. You're going to learn so much, and you are going to really, really come into your own. So don't. You're safe now. Those of you who weren't before are safe now. Those of you who were looking for a higher purpose, you found it. And those who are still chasing mysteries, they are everywhere out there. Welcome to the Manna Gambu. And with that, she turns into a puff of purple smoke and is gone.
And I hook my arm into Lucia's and grab one of the weird fruits out of the crates and say, "There, let's go explore."
Lucia's like pulling her hood up, but it very, very most assuredly fell down while she was getting jostled, and she yanked it back up. "Let's go explore," she says, holding tightly onto stuff and kind of looking at the frogs and the elf like, "Help me."
So there are two doors off of this room and a staircase. Where are you going to go?
Are the doors blue?
The doors are all blue.
Let's go to the closest one and find out.
Yeah.
You go to the closest door and you put your hands on it and you pull your hand back really fast. It's not enough to hurt you, but it was really hot.
And I look at the door, my hand, and I look at the smoking frog and I say, "This one might be yours."
Looks like it, and I open it up.
You open the door and you open into this wide circular room that's way too big to be in this tower. The room that you just left is the full size of the tower. Yet this is a wonderfully large circular room that seems to be shaped out of clay. And there are shelves for you to jump from piece to piece. There is in one side a little wardrobe built that's full of clothes, not just blue robes, but other things as well. Outfits and hats and shoes and socks. And none of them seem to be affected by the heat or the flames that occasionally flick over the surfaces in here. And the best part is your bed, because back into the back of the room, elevated up, is a giant, ever-burning furnace.
Ooh. Unless any of you want to burn to death, I think this is my room.
Bart just
I'm
looks at all the
Greg.
walls and he's like, ugh, clay.
This room was specifically built for what would appeal to smoke. What else is in here?
Oh, geez. We got a furnace. I think with smoke, he'd actually prefer. It's more like maybe so like it is more minimalistic. Like, so like there isn't much else. Maybe like usual like a desk and stuff for when work's to be done. Um, I guess like how he would just like oh. I'd imagine like he wrote like the middle of the room. Maybe there's like coals even.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like almost like that's where he could like in a way sunbathe. Because that's how he like because he
Right back.
that's his form of like showering, like getting clean.
You could even have a little bit of a sauna if you wanted one.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I have to ask Greg, you said there's hats. What kind of hats?
What kind of hats do you want? I was like thinking like a little bowler hat, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, like
The
all
drip.
the yeah, just any nonsensical hat you could think of, like
Sure.
cowboy hat, top hat, bowler hat.
There's a jester's cap that's sitting on there.
You have the Sir
Yeah.
Aaron hat.
I'm taking a cowboy hat and I'm
You
gonna
put-
put it on.
You put it on. Now there's a little 2.5 foot flaming red grung with a cowboy hat. Lucia, you're
come
not
out.
sure when your world took this turn, but it definitely did.
I come back out. I go, howdy, Art.
Art's gonna cast poison spray and just spray some random color on his hat.
Oh, now you have a tie-dye cowboy hat.
He's like, there
Oh,
you go.
dude.
Now it's a hat.
Don't do that. And then I use a produce flame on the hat to burn away the poison.
You do, and it goes back
There's
to the
no
regular.
accounting for taste.
So there is another door across from this one. Would you like to look at it?
Yeah, I'll take a look.
The door swings open, and it is a nice sized room. And it has a bed, and it has a wardrobe, and it has a section it has a desk and a chair, and it has some rugs, and there are some wall hangings. And everything is white. And the little bed, it's about 2.5 feet long, with white sheets and white wood. I want you to make a wisdom saving throw for me, Art.
That is a natural 1. Let's go.
You have just walked into a blank canvas. You cannot control yourself. You can't. You can't. You have got to fill this room full of color as manically and quickly and sporadically and insanely as possible. Go. What are you doing? Tell me what's happening.
Art is just he just reaches into his bag, pulls out like just like a clay pot and just starts stuffing things into it. Some red dye goes in, a couple of fruit, the bananas from earlier, they go in, and he just starts like punching into it to mix up some random colors, and then he's just finger painting the walls. There are tribal designs, things that look like ancient Grung warriors. There are images of dragons. There are trees, sunsets, landscapes. He's just painting literally anything that can come to mind on the walls at the moment.
Art is obviously going to be busy for a little while.
Yep.
And obviously found his room. Would anybody like to try the upper floor? The second floor, as you would.
Oh, we tried all of the doors on the bottom floor?
The bottom floor was the furnace room for Smoke and the canvas room for Art.
Okay, sorry, we had to step out. My neighbor's car needed a jump.
Oh, no, okay, no worries. Are you good?
Yeah, Brian's helping him jump it right now.
Okay. Well, no, we can focus on Tosin and Lucia.
Yeah.
So
My arm is still hooked around Lucia, and I start. Okay, let's go check upstairs for ours.
Okay.
and
Under her breath, you can still hear first impressions.
And you two go up a wide staircase onto an open landing. The banisters are blue, and there is another staircase going up, and there are 2 doors.
Lucia looks at Tosin.
They're both blue. You're going to try one?
Whatever one's closest.
You open the closest door, and it opens into a tent. A large tent. The tent, that are common of your people. These are the sort of tents that there's the big tents and the sides buck out, so you can bring them up during the day to let the air in, and then when night comes, you can close them. And you come in, and the door behind you is a regular wall of the house with the door, but the 3 other sides are clearly a tent. And it is manufactured into the way of your people. All of the customary things you would expect to find are there, including a little hammock and a wardrobe, and any luggage that you had is here. That anything that you brought with you, you consider you probably carry everything on you, so there probably wasn't anything that came in advance of you. But this is a very comfortable, safe reminiscent of home. However, whoever created this for you obviously had a little insight to your character. Woohoo! My son is an Eagles fan, so he just had to give me an update on the football game. I don't know how I ended up with an Eagles fan. I think it's a failure as a parent, but I don't know. So whoever created this for you obviously had some insight into who you are, because each of the 3 sections of tent that are busted up looking out all look out onto a different vista. One is a cold, craggy tundra with beautiful blue-purple mountains in the distance. The other is off the side of a green wilderness, a waterfall falling. And to the right is an expansive desert with pyramids in the distance. So while you were presented with the comforts of home, you were also treated to wonderful vistas that call to your wanderlust.
And I drop Lucia's arm and just pat her on the back and go inside to start looking at everything.
Yes, it's just like home. And Lucia, you find yourself standing in the hallway, relieved, but also sad that you're standing alone now. And you look over at the door that must be yours. You think?
I leave the door open behind me in case she wants to come in.
Lucia puts her hand on the door.
You put your hand on the door. It's just a blue door.
Lucia, is it a doorknob, a door pull? What is it?
Yeah, just a knob.
Okay. Lucia, like she was careful because she saw what happened. in the other, like downstairs. She's not going to get burned. So she turns the knob and walks in.
You walk in and you feel as you walk into this strange room, and this is a strange room. This is nothing that you would expect to have seen. This is nothing like your home. This is nothing like any place that you have ever lived. And as you enter, you feel strange, not unsafe, but just a little bit weird, as if you remember this place, even though you've never been here. And it's an old, creaky cabin. And the floorboards groan as you walk over them. Spider webs copiously align the corners of the rooms. There are tables that line most of the walls here that are covered with either books or potion bottles. There's a little still on one table. There are herbs hanging drying from the ceiling. There's one bookcase that is bereft of books, but full of skulls. The room smells of dust and of cinnamon. The one window looks out onto a blustery autumn day.
Lucia feels her heart tugging when she sees that, but of course she's going to go for the book. The books.
There are all manner of books here, some in languages you don't know, some that change and rise when you look at them. And all of the books have a little tag on the bottom, a little book plate. The big books, the small books. And they all say, property of Grindella Vervain.
Does Lucia know who Grindella Vervain is?
Hmm?
She's heard that name, right? She has.
Yes.
That's her. That's her grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Her great grandmother, yeah.
She doesn't hold with greats.
Yeah, that's fine. You would consider her your grandmother. That's fine. Yeah, this seems to be your grandmother's cabin.
Well, if that's the case, then like her heart is breaking a little bit, like as she recognizes the name for like the relationship that can't be.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you coming into your own, you starting your journey was the end of hers. So there's a little sadness there, but there's also a sense of legacy that while the rest of your family refused to take up your grandmother's mantle, you still have the chance to. You know, they all lost the ability to know her, but you didn't.
Magic isn't bad, Lucia says, fingering like all of the names. Magic isn't bad, and like she takes like her cloak off and like just leaves it neatly on one of the chairs. Probably won't be neat later, but very studiously thinking this.
You take your cloak off, your hair spills out, and the wreath of flowers that is always present on your head grows a little bit as it's set free.
Does she realize this? Because that might freak her out.
No, probably not.
Okay, it is Lucia.
You can't see herself.
She's not paying attention.
She just feels more comfortable. Now, did you close the door behind you, or did you leave your door open as well?
The door was left open.
Okay.
She wasn't quite ready to leave everyone yet.
So you have found your space and your grandmother's stuff, and there's a bed in the corner, and there are clothes, and there's a cloak hung by the wall on the wall that might have been hers, and you don't know if this is an illusion or what it is, but yeah, this seems to be her home.
She goes up to the cloak and she like smells it, because the last time she really saw her grandmother, she was 5, right? Like, so
Yeah.
she's like, does this smell like, is there any memories? Like, she's missed out on a lifetime of memories and won't have any. Like,
Your grandmother smelled like autumn. She smelled like wood fire and pumpkin spice and cinnamon and dying leaves, and all of those scents strongly remind you of her. And on one of the pegs, you see a robe almost identical to yours, except it is black.
Lucia's gonna like touch it and look at it.
You recognize this is the robe that the other instructors, the teachers, were wearing.
Lucia holds the robe and compares it to her robe, which is over across the room on a chair, and says, was my grandmother a teacher here? She must have been. How could they
So
afford
her
her?
head out the door. What?
And Lucia automatically, like, awkwardly tries to like cover herself with like the black robe. And nothing.
You see very clearly amidst the curls this opulent, beautiful wreath that encircles her head, and it is lovely. It has golden red brown leaves, and it has little gourds and acorns, and it's this wonderful autumnal floral display. Dried flowers, perfectly positioned, and it's beautiful. And you're not sure why she's hiding it, because it's quite lovely.
Does it kind of look like Valariel's, but instead of spring, it's autumn?
Make an insight check for me, and I'll let you make it on. Let you make it at advantage.
Oh. 16.
It is exactly like that. And the little nubbins of horns too that she's trying to hide give you a very strong suspicion that this girl is of Fey ancestry.
And I say, wow, you look just like a princess I know.
And Lucia's peeking out and trying to be like not weird in first impressions and everything. And she's like, a princess? You know a princess?
I have met a princess. And I pull down the edge of my shirt to like show her. She gave me this tattoo after we met. It was a real bird, and then it turned into a tattoo.
And Lucia is now very interested because, she has a bird friend, and the bird friend has disappeared, but she had a bird friend. Did you know the bird? And now she, like, you can see she's put like the robe over her shoulder or her arm, and she's walking towards.
I didn't know the bird, but it came out of her wreath that was around her head, just like yours.
You become conscious of it now, Lucia.
Lucia like touches it and is like, takes a deep breath and is like, you hear her say, magic is good. And it's the weirdest thing because like she's in a school of magic.
I just look at her with like a little perplexed look. Magic is, yes, very good, very cool.
Good. And Lucia is like, okay, I think I need some rest. And she's exhausted. But wait, And she peeks out the door and she sees is Squall in the hallway? Where is Squall?
Did he follow
Well,
us up?
where are you? Are you following along with everybody as they
Uh,
find their rooms?
Yeah, I'm just following you guys, just kind of, you know, my mentality is like, well, it's a process of elimination. So the longer I wait, the better I understand which room is mine. You know?
Well, the two doors in this hallway led to both of their rooms. There are no more doors, but there's another stairwell.
I hesitate and, you know, debate leaving the group and all that other stuff, but I think I head on up to the stairwell and say, you know, Tozen, I don't see my door here. I don't see another.
Yeah, let's go look upstairs.
But there is a stairway. So yeah, you mind coming with me?
I jump out of my room and close the door behind me. Lucia, you want to come look for one more room with us?
And Lucia is excited to go see. She's seen all the other ones.
Okay, so you go up, and there are again another stairwell. You come out of the stairwell and the open way, and then there are two doors, two blue doors.
So just to the left and right of me, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just look over to the left one and look over at everybody else, kind of shrug. I guess I can try this. And let's see if it burns my hand.
You go to the door, and it doesn't burn your hand. It's not hot at all, but it does not open.
Then that one must be our missing roommates.
Yeah. Well, I hope he's okay and come see this room. I'm kind of excited to see what mine is. I don't really know what to expect. I've never had something catered to me. So I go to the right room and take a breath and touch the handle and open the door.
You open your door, and your door opens into a room that's a little, just barely large enough to make you uncomfortable. Not nearly as large as everybody else's, because you wouldn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
It is the Spartan, clean, controlled space of a soldier. There is your cot. There is your chest. There is where you hang your uniforms. There is where you place your weapons. There is the table to maintain your weapons. It is the cold, calculated space that all soldiers expect to have, except this is your room, and you are more than just a soldier. So built around and in the nooks and crannies of all of the things that you would expect to see in the room of the perfect soldier, there are books. There are big books and little books and old books and new books and books that you don't recognize, and they're everywhere, and they're in piles, and they're spilling over on the part of the desk where they shouldn't be, and all of the bookcases are empty.
So I look around and I say, excuse me, ladies. I guess they didn't clean my room. They didn't know I was going to be here so soon. I've got to take care of these books.
And as you start to pick up the books and start thinking about how you want to place them, you find yourself 20 years in the past. You find yourself that eager young sage who was standing up to book bullies and organizing books. And as you start to place the books on the shelves where you want them, how you want them, you realize how much you missed that part of yourself.
Yeah, I think I realize that as I look at one of the books that I'm putting and making sure that it's, you know, in size order and, you know, name order alphabetically and everything else, and I realize, you know, I don't want to put this book right here. I think when I, you know, put it somewhere else and kind of realize my mistake, you know, I hesitate and look around and realize that, like we said, this is my bookcase. I can set it up however I want. And I start to realize that this is that I'm in control of this area. This is mine. I've never had something that's mine before. I start to
it is not lost on you that this is very well a metaphor for what your life has become.
I walk over to I realize I stopped putting the books up because I realize no one's going to force me to get them in place right away, and they don't have to be perfect. And I walk over to the weapons table and investigate the tools, see if things are sharp. They're brand new. I'm not getting used things, cheap things, just basics to make me function. I've been given the best things to make me excel.
Yes, you were provided with the standard gear of the Eldritch Order, and that's the best of the best.
Yeah. I don't know what to I don't know how to make it, but I feel like I would get a little emotional, just because I've never been treated or given the opportunity to have something like this. And then I think I realized that when I steady myself and realized that, no, this is real. This is an opportunity. They've given me this chance. I feel like resolute. I'm gonna do well.
You are feeling the conviction, and Lucia and Tosin, as you're kind of backing out of the room, as you see that that this is having an effect on Squall, you guys are kind of backing out to give his face, and you hear tunk 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 tunk, and you look up and you see in the ceiling there's a hatch.
In the ceiling of my room?
In the ceiling of the hallway.
Oh, okay.
And you look out now too as you hear tuk, 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 tuk.
Who's there?
You just hear muffled.
I jump and try to open it.
Yeah.
And there's a little pull on it, and you pull it down, and it's like one of those ceiling doors where you open it and then the ladder falls down.
Oh, yeah. Here, let me help you with that. Get it set up.
And as you get the ladder up, you see a face is peering down at you, and it is a chubby little human face, and a little gnomish face peeks out, and they're the two of the faces that were peering at you from the second floor window, which you never actually saw that window. That's weird. And they're looking down. Hey, new kids, come on up.
Well, I'm not sure I'm wanting the hazing tonight.
What? What do you mean? Come on, we just want to meet you.
Yeah, whatever.
You guys shut the door, or do you go up?
Yeah, we shut the door.
Shut the door. And as it's shut, you're like, damn it, they didn't fall for it. But the door shuts, and you hear a little bit of pounding. But as like the pounding annoys you, it's almost as if the house senses it, and you can no longer hear it anymore, even though you're sure they're up there banging on it. And you have all found your rooms, and you have all found your spaces. And is there anything else that you would like to do this evening?
And I sort of poke Lucia. I'm like, well, who'd have ever guessed he was such a nerd?
Lucia's like, we all like books, right?
Oh, yeah, but did you see the number of books in there? It was like half his room.
Yeah, I overhear and I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of knowledge.
Oh,
And
no.
Lucia is actually looking
Gonna
at
be
him
a
and
very favorite soon.
she's like, I wonder what books you have that I don't have. Do you want to see my books and can I see your books? Like she's all up in your face. Well,
Yeah.
she's all up in your face.
All up in my chest. Yes, I'd love to see your books.
That sounds fantastic.
Are your books ancestral? Are they old? Do they tell stories of your people and things like that? That's the books that I'm used to reading.
Lucia's all excited and she's starting to get a little bit more animated. And she's like, yes, the books are my grandmother's. Well, technically my great grandmother's. I only met her once, but I have her books now. And
So
she like goes to pull her cloak around her, and she like realizes that she's not wearing her cloak, and she's like freaking out, like, but she's trying to be cool.
Susan just slowly like pulls her violin around and sort of saunters off playing a love song. I'll just leave you two alone with your books.
12. She's like, yes, books.
Oh, I get excited. I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, didn't you know that, the more history and life that's put into a book, the more you can be connected with it. Once you read it, it's not just a story anymore. It's something that's physical because you can remember it. And I just
She says over her shoulder, he wants some connection, Lucia.
So, Lucia, you're thinking this and you're trying to decide if you want to blush or not. But when he talks about reading and history and connection, somewhere in the back of your mind, it makes you a little bit sad because that's the last connection that you have to your grandmother.
Really, to any of my family at this moment in time.
Yeah, very true.
I noticed the, I guess like the emotional change when I say that.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious that there's a little sadness connected to these books that she's inherited.
I kind of noticed that, and I looked and I said, I'm trying to make her feel better because I was in that situation too, where I was, never allowed to see any of my family or anything like that. I had to be connected through books with my people pretty much. And so I try and say something, that's, I wouldn't be able to do it eloquently in real life, but, he, I'm sure would be able to say something that would tie, when you read these books about people, something that's personal for me. Like I remember when I read this book about my great grandfather, adventure that he had, reading about this Eldritch knight that he came across. That's what made me realize, people like me, someone that's in my family, can do something, see the world, be part of something that's bigger than yourself, and make a difference, not just be this person with a job. And I go off on it and tell them that it's when I remember feeling so disconnected from my family and anyone that I knew, and I never had friends. And then when I realized, as I was reading about my family and their adventures, the life that they lived, that I didn't have to physically do because I got to hear, in essence, the best parts of their lives and the worst parts of their lives in more detail than I've ever been able to hear in just a conversation. And in that process, I felt so much more closer and more connected with someone I've never met before.
Squall's story makes you feel a little bit better, Lucia. You think that maybe spending some time with your grandmother's books, maybe that's what you need to connect with her. And as you two discuss books and stories, and the night goes on, and you all eventually find yourself falling asleep comfortably in these new rooms of yours that seem to speak to who you are. There are no signs of any of the other students, which doesn't quite make any sense, considering that there are 3 doors that should be connected to this space, but are clearly not. But you're comfortable and you're safe. and you wake the next morning after a wonderful night's sleep with full bellies and new friends. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. A place of peace. The first page turned.
Last night of peace.
Yes, yes. Session 2 is going to be entitled Class Warfare. So
Class warfare.
Boy.
I'm gonna learn about why those two were so anxious to eat muffins.
So I will tell you. So the muffin thing is kind of a private joke for anybody who's been in any other group that I've been in. Muffins are usually evil. Yeah,
Evil.
muffin equals
Muffins I
bad.
had were very tasty, thank
They
you.
were great. You didn't get sick. They didn't turn you into a demon.
Yes.
They weren't made by slime people. No, they were.
They weren't associated with a dead loved one.
Yeah, yes, no dead. Yes, they weren't used to torment and torture you. No. They were just nice muffins. They had chocolate chips, man. Not all muffins are bad, guys.
For now.
That's what he's telling us now.
Yeah.
No, I'll never eat a muffin. Yeah.
Maybe.
Greg plus muffins equals barbarism.
Yeah, Kelpie's story was a little bit rough, but that's okay. We got through it. Okay, thank you for joining us. We have a whole new campaign ahead of us, and we have a whole new way to frame everything, including muffins. And thank you guys for being on the journey. And this is just the start, and we have miles to go before we sleep. So I will see you again in 2 weeks, where we get to meet Doug, our 6th member, and classes start. Get ready, jump right in.
Right.
Okay.
Later, guys. Good game, Greg. Thanks.
Good night, guys.
Right.